Usually, men with high S appeal have fit physiques for the most part, right? Because I know there's cases where there's guys that don't have the fittest physique are getting women. I understand this, but in a lot of cases, men that have fit physiques have high sex appeal because they know that that is an element. They know that that's a key element in S appeal. So they are in the gym, they work out. And this is why a lot of athletes, now let's get away from the financial side of it real quick. If top athletes were not playing a sport, they would still get a lot of women. Let's take Tyreek Hill or LeBron James or whatever athlete you want to take. Even if they weren't playing a sport, they would still have a decent amount of women, simply because that body, their physique is a key element of their S appeal. But I'm gonna get right into it. This is Tarik Talks, and let's talk about some S appeal. So shout out Ron Wills, man. He's always said this, that your physique is a key part of S appeal, and I've been knowing this as well. When I came, before I got on YouTube and before YouTube was even really a thing like that, I knew that a large factor of S appeal was the physique, because I would see guys that did have a well-built physique. They weren't winning any competition, okay? They were not winning any competition, and their body fat wasn't like 0 and all of that, because some guys get super specific to where they're like, you got to have less than so and so percent fat, and it's not even like a reasonable percent. It's like a super low percent, like 5% or something, 5% body fat. That's great, but that's to me, in my humble opinion, because I've never been below like 10%. Okay, I've never really been below 10%. That's great if you have that, but that is not a must. That's super specific and super just real. They getting very meticulous and just very nitpicky about that. So it's not necessarily 5%. It's to where your muscles are visible and you just look strong as hell. You just look strong as hell. And usually those guys, they have high S appeal, because when they walk around, they emit that energy. S appeal is it's an energy. Same thing with young ladies. When we see young ladies walking around and physically and energetic wise, personality wise, because yes, S appeal is a 2-part deal, right? It's a 2-part type of dynamic, because you have the physicality part and you have the personality part. But it's like a young lady, she's walking around, she's curvy, right? She's very curvy. Her clothes are very fitting to her physique and all that good stuff. And plus, I'm not gonna really touch on the personality part, because that is another huge factor. But she has that kind of aura, that kind of energy, the way she moves around, the way she walks, the way her look is. And when I say look, I mean the way her eyes are. the look, the way that her eyes give off a certain type of energy. It's hard to explain. It's the same thing with men. That physicality part in itself is part of the S appeal. It gives off a certain energy without you even saying anything, because it is true that a lot of women get turned off when a guy starts talking sometimes. And we do too, right? A lot of men do too, especially with these bossy, boss type of chicks, boss B words and divas and all that. I'm the baddest, and he has to do this, and he got to make $1 billion a day, and all of those ridiculous requirements. We're like, ugh. She was so pretty too, she was pretty. But same thing with men, okay? But initially, he had her. I'm not talking about the verbal part of it. I'm not talking about the personality part. The attraction was handled right then and there. It was ignited. Now, if y'all's personality click, of course, just because you look attractive, your personalities might not match. That doesn't mean you're lame. It doesn't always mean you're lame or you're beta or corny or anything. It's just sometimes personalities do not mix. But it was there. That attraction part was there, and that is a huge part of it, because women get turned on by a guy that is built, that has good indicators of fitness, because ultimately that's why fit bodies are so attractive, because they are an indicator of fitness. And that is something, the human mind is kind of like a computer. It processes stuff. Now, am I saying that everyone that has muscles and all that is fit? Of course not. Of course not. Especially, and don't let me get started with guys that take roids and that are juiced up. I'm not talking about them, because those guys have trash health. That's why a lot of them end up passing away, because of all those roids. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the regular guy. The regular guy who goes to the gym, isn't all roided out and all that good stuff. He is healthy. That translates to, hey, look, this guy is going to carry out some good genes. And it also, in a more hedonistic, let's just be honest, in a more hedonistic sense, they're going to be thinking, this guy can rail me to next Sunday. They're thinking this guy can pound me into next week. This is how they think, because as men, what we find sexy is a woman that is soft, a woman that feels smooth, her skin is smooth. Generally, we don't like when there's too much muscle cuts, or when the muscle is hard, right? Because, hey, look, if you're a hetero man, you want to feel a woman that's soft, and for men, we'll allow a little bit more, a little bit more jelly, a little bit more junk in the trunk, because, like I said, we like women that are soft, okay? That are soft. That's what turns us on, is that soft, smooth skin. But for women, on the flip side, it's the opposite. Doesn't mean, like I said, it doesn't mean you can't have a little bit of fat on you. I'm not no damn 5%. Matter of fact, I'm probably, I haven't weighed myself or did BMI or anything, but I'm probably like 11% fat, right? But it's hard. It's hard muscle. It's the muscles are, it's tangibly hard. When a woman touches you, she wants to feel that hardness. And when she does, right, a lot of guys can attest to this when they're out and about, at their job, wherever they are. If they have a good build, they will notice that women break the touch barrier quite a bit. They will find any reason to touch you, to break the touch barrier. You could have said the corniest ass joke, and they'll start laughing just to touch your arm. Okay? I know this has happened to a couple of my fellas, the ones that work out. You guys know what I'm talking about. You could have said, knock knock, why did the chicken cross the road ass joke? And they'll be like, ah ha ha, and touch you right on the chest. right on the arm. And a lot of young ladies, they find you know, certain body parts to be attractive. Some women like back, some like a big chest, big shoulders, big glutes. Yes, women love them some glutes on a man's. Your legs, strong legs. And all of these things, they just have a biological effect. I want to kind of say it's almost metaphysical. I want to say it's metaphysical because it's like, you know, they find it sexy. It gives the man S appeal. It increases it by a lot. And I would beg to differ a lot of guys that do well with women, because there are guys that aren't even fit that do well with women. I would say if they got into shape, I would say they would do even better. If they're doing great, they could be doing fantastic. Okay? If they're not doing, you know, and if on the flip side of the coin, if a guy is not doing so well and he's out of shape, he gets into shape, he's going to be doing very good. And at least a lot of guys got to work on their social interaction. They have to work on their social skills. But when they get that physique down, okay, they have a better shot. They have a way better shot, because now that your physique is on point, and usually, not all the time, when men get their physiques on point, they start dressing a little better. Their clothes fit them a tad bit better. You know, just the regular Walmart shirt or Target shirt. I've mentioned Target many a times. You know, I got plain Target tees. Those simple ass shirts on an out of shape guy don't look so great. On a guy that is in shape, they look great. Okay, they look great. So, you know, usually guys that have a high S appeal, the clothes are a little better. And if your social skills, you don't have to be a wordsmith, right? You do not have to be a wordsmith by any means. But if you have that basic conversation skill, yes, it's gonna be, you know, she's gonna be very aroused, because your physique is doing a lot of the talking. See, the reason why a lot of guys got to learn pickup and game and all of that is because their attraction is not all there. And I know some guys are going to talk about face and jaw and all that. Hey, look, you can't do nothing about that, but you can increase your physique, and that does help out a lot, because a lot of guys, you know, let's take the jawline, a weak ass jawline. Hey, guess what? Working out is going to help with that a little bit. If you got a damn double chin, working out is going to take that away. Right? So with that being said, yes, men that are in shape tend to have a higher S appeal. Peace.